Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be a plant shop vlog where I take you guys all behind the scenes of me running my plant store from home. So this week's vlog is mostly going to be focused around me preparing for the market event that's happening April 30th. If you're new here, I'm actually attending my first ever market event. It is a South Jersey plant event where a bunch of people are going to be vendors and buyers and things like that. It's happening at a greenhouse, I believe. So I am going to be a vendor and it is going to be my first time. So I'm really excited for it, but I feel like I have a lot to do. So this week I definitely want to get a lot of the plants prepped. I have a lot of propagations and I also want to downsize a lot in my personal collection. So I'm going to be doing that as well. And I'm also going to be doing some regular plant shop chores like packing orders and other things like that. So the first thing I want to do today is actually water all the plants in the greenhouse. There's quite a bit of stuff still left in here, and a lot of it is actually not on my shop website. The reason why I haven't updated the shop is because I wanted to make sure that I had plants for the event. So if you're looking around the greenhouse and you see some plants and you're like, where is it on the shop? It's because I'm trying to hold off on restocking and bring these plants to the event so that I have something. A lot of things have happened in the background in my personal life, and I was supposed to order a new shipment of plants for the shop and for the event, but life kind of happened and I didn't get around to doing it. So I'm so sorry if you've been waiting for a restock. I have a lot of big things going on in my personal life and for the shop that I am going to share with you guys very soon. But for now, unfortunately, I wasn't able to order a new batch of plants, so I am sorry about that. But anything that does not sell at the market, I will definitely restock the shop that week, and maybe we can even do a live plant auction come May and clear out anything else that we have in here. So let's just go ahead and water the plants. In this bin here we have some of the Alocasia Jacqueline corums. This is how they are looking. Some of them have grown quite a bit, so I'm definitely going to be bringing these to the market event. They are all just growing in perlite, which makes it really easy for me to like grow the corums. Just putting them in the perlite and these cups make it super easy. So they are going to be sold as is. I think each one is going to be maybe like $15, so definitely not super expensive. So I definitely think that these will be good to have out on the table. Quite a few different ones to choose from. So in case you are looking for some and you're going to the event, I will definitely have some. So this plant right here is actually an Amy Durian medium blue. This is a little prop off of one of my mother plants. It's been growing for quite a while now and it's looking really good. So this one is definitely going to come to the event. I actually need to prop the mother plant again. Maybe this week I'll actually do some more propagations and stuff like that. And then in the back, these are just really random plants that I have that kind of just get neglected. They're like rehab, so they're not ready. So they are just going to stay with me until they're ready. In this bin, we have a mixture of Hoyas. And at the moment, majority of these plants are on the shop. So if they sell between now and then, that's fine. I'm just not adding anything new to the shop site just because, like I said, I don't want them to go right away. I want to make sure that I have something. In a perfect world, I was supposed to have a big shipment just for the market event, and then whatever didn't sell, I would list it on the shop. But that didn't happen. And honestly, my personal life right now is kind of taking the priority over the shop. Sorry if you're like looking for new stuff and I haven't had anything. That's just why. It doesn't really make sense for me at this moment to have a big batch of plants come in. Oh, and I am just watering the plants with regular tap water, and I added some liquid fertilizer. I'm using the Dynagrow liquid fertilizer in the water as well. I'm really excited for the event, but I'm actually getting a little bit nervous, not gonna lie. I honestly do not consider myself a people person, and I think that's why I'm a little nervous, because I'm going to have to interact with so many people. I think I put on a good presence, but deep down I'm like having a full-blown like anxiety attack. Deep down I definitely be like going through it when I have to talk to a lot of people that I don't know, or like large crowds and groups and stuff like that. So that is making me a little bit anxious, just like, you know, having to see all these people I've never met before. But I think I'm gonna be okay because it's gonna just be all plant people. So I find that the plant community is really easygoing and easy to talk to. It's easier to talk to somebody when you have the same interests. So the fact that everybody there is there for the same reason, obviously plants, I think it'll be way easier for me. I think I'm really just nervous that I'm going to be like stumbling on my words or like fumbling with like the payments and stuff like that. So I'm going to make sure like I do like test payments because I'm going to be using the Square card reader. I'm going to be like doing some little practice runs on myself so that I like know how to use it, so I'm not like confused or anything when I have my first customer. So yeah, selling in person is way different than online. It's way easier to send a message like on your phone or like email or something like that than like talk in person. I think I'll be okay. I mean, obviously I talk to people every single day for my job and everything like that, and I'm fine, but I just hope that I'm not awkward, and I hope that I don't have like the resting bee face, because sometimes I do that where I'm just standing there and I look like I'm miserable, but like I'm not. And at the end of the day, I'm just gonna do my best. That's really it. So that's all I can do. But I've said this before, this whole market event situation is going to be a really good learning opportunity for me. And it's going to give me some growth as a business. The plans I have for Plant Life Flex is I don't think I ever want a physical storefront. Maybe in the future, like way future, but I can't really see myself actually wanting to own a retail store, like a storefront, and like sit there all day and whatever. I know I could hire people, but like I feel like I'm so close to my business, like I'm really particular and I want to do everything the way I want to do it. So I don't think that that's in the cards for me. So honestly, I think I would prefer just to be like strictly online, and like obviously if I have local customers, they can come pick it up, whatever. I think the real goal that I would really love is to have a dedicated like warehouse space for the plants and make that like a studio space where I can like house all the plants, like a ton of them, obviously, so that I could have huge inventory all the time. A space dedicated to just packing. Packing the plants is such a task, I'm not going to lie. Like if you do not have space, which I barely do, it makes it really hard. So having a dedicated space that's ready all the time for packing would be great. So I feel like a studio space or like a warehouse space or office space, whatever, would be the most ideal for me. So pretty much like that's what my main goal is. I feel like that would just work out better for me than for me to like try to open up a storefront and everything like that, when like clearly that's something I don't want to do. I don't want to force myself to like do something like that. I just don't think I would enjoy it. I've never enjoyed working in retail, and even though it's my business, I don't think I would enjoy it either. Like I just want to start work when I want to and finish work when I want to, you know what I mean? I don't want to be like having no set hours and like making sure that I come to the store and open it and stuff like that. You know, I'm just talking about future things, but honestly, I think ultimately a studio space or a warehouse space would be something that I would want to do. So maybe in the next year or two, I will start looking around to see if I can find anything like that. Or who knows, maybe my future home will actually have something like that. I just don't know yet. So anyway, down here in this bin, I don't even think I told you guys, these are like just a mix of like philodendrons and some other stuff in here. All the bins are not organized right now, so I'm going to be organizing them this week after I get all the propagations potted up and name tags on everything and stuff like that. But what I wanted to show you guys was look at this alocasia frydek. Do you guys remember this? This was one of the two. All the leaves were like this big, but like look how big this one is now, you guys. Like I'm actually growing it myself. I'm so proud of myself. I really suck with alocasias, but so far this guy is doing so good. I have it in a plastic cup with no drainage, and I have my soil-free potting mix, and I just keep it moist, and it's been really liking it. The other one, I put it in pond and it literally unalived itself, so we're not going to talk about it. But to be fair, that one was like completely solid white, so I knew that that one was not going to last. And here we have some of the Monstera Adansonia Aria. The Arias have grown a little bit now. This one has 5 leaves. And I think originally it only had like 2 or 3, so it's been definitely growing. It's looking great too. You can kind of see the color coming through now. The Aria tends to take a little while for the color to develop. So in the next few weeks, this light green will turn to like the yellow color. Then we have another one that is here. We also have some Ceratus mirabilis right here. We have 2 of them. Excited to bring all of these plants to the event because I don't think a lot of our local greenhouses in Jersey have some of these plants. So maybe that will spark some people's interest, you know. This is a Jose right here. And then I have some random stuff in here, like this is a little burl marks variegated. in this little corner here. Have some more Cercis mirabilis in the back. The thing about this plant is that it really shows you when it's thirsty. It will completely like droop down, but then the moment you water it, it'll perk back up. So that's how I knew. I was like, yeah, I need to get in here and water these plants because the Cercis were like flopping, but in a few hours they're gonna be just fine. They are not dying. And here is that little Florida Beauty that I propped. It is doing well. It's growing a lot of roots now, so I think it's just focusing on the roots, and then soon it'll put out a leaf. Okay, so all the plants in here are watered. I already did all of the big plants on the top, so I'm not gonna bother with them today, but everything in here is watered. So the next thing that I need to do is I need to go through all the propagations that are in here. I have a bin of props here, and then I have some in here as well. So I'm going to get a lot of these props potted up in soil-free potting mix, and then the ones that don't have enough roots, a lot of them do have roots though, I'm going to pot them up in moss and perlite. And I know moss is something that I do not like, but since that they are not really fully ready for potting mix, I still want to bring them to the event. So the best thing to do is just to put them in like a moss perlite mix, and that'll give me like 2 weeks of them growing in that so that they can get acclimated to it and they'll be ready to bring to the event. So I'm gonna do that as well. I am kind of kicking myself, like, why did I decide to do this today on a Thursday evening, knowing I have a ton of other things to do and I'm nowhere near done. If you can hear a bunch of birds chirping in the background while I'm talking, it's because I have our patio door open right here and Piper likes to sit in there and watch the birds and stuff, so the birds are chirping and whatever. So I went through all of the propagations that I have in the big greenhouse, and I also sometimes keep propagations in my Ikea greenhouse cabinets. So I went through all of them, and here is what I have. There is a ton of plants in here right now. They are all going to get potted up in soil-free potting mix, or if they are like cuttings with just a little bit of roots, I'm actually going to pot them up in a moss and perlite mix, like I said earlier. And then over here, you can't see, and I'm not about to pick up this bin because it's super heavy. I went through all of my plants and decided it was time to downsize a lot. There's probably like 20 something plants maybe in this bin over here that you can't see. And don't worry, when I'm finished all of this, I'm going to go through every single plant so you guys can see what I'm bringing to the market. And also, if they don't sell at the market, you guys will be able to shop all of these plants on the shop in the next coming week or so. So yeah, I decided to downsize a lot, and When I tell you guys that there is literally nothing in my Ikea greenhouse cabinets, I probably could condense all 3 of them into one at this moment because there's really nothing in there. It just makes more sense to me right now at this moment to not have that many plants that I have to worry about for the next month or 2. I don't really become sad or anything when I have to let plants go because I know that I can always rebuild my collection, but I will show you guys more in detail after all this, all the plants that I decided to let go. So now I'm going to pot up all of the water props into their own little pots or whatever I'm going to do with them. And then I'm also going to up pot or repot some of my plants, like the bottom cuts, because they've been in their pots for a really long time. Some of them aren't really in the typical shop plant pot that I like to use. Some of them are in just like some random pots that I use for my own collection. I like to plant all of the shop plants into the same type of pot so that it just looks a little bit more organized and cleaner. I'm going to use this little 4-inch pot here. This is the typical 4-inch pot that I use for all the small plants. And then I brought out some 5-inch clear pots and some 6-inch clear pots as well, because a lot of my plants are due for an up pot, so they're gonna go in a bigger pot as well. And as I'm doing all of this, I'm going to be labeling each plant with their name, and I'm going to be writing the cost of how much I want them to be for the market event. So I use these little labels here. You can see a little bit better here. It's just a blank label. I think it's 2x2 or something like that. But I print these out. It has my website name on there. And then typically I just write the type of plant on there and whatever number it is, like Monstera albo number 1, number 2, whatever. Since this is going to be an in-person event, I want to write the actual price on the tag. So anybody that picks up the plant, they can see how much it costs. And then another thing with the prices, since it's in person, I'm going to take some time, probably not this week, honestly, probably next week. I'm going to take some time and go through my Square app that I'm going to use to charge all the payments and individually put all of the plants with their price in there as an item so that I can just easily ring people up like that instead of me typing out the whole invoice and everything like that. At least it'll already be in there. I can just add it to their cart, have them check out, swipe the card, and be done. So that'll probably happen next week. So yeah, let me go ahead and get started with all of this because this is probably going to take me quite a bit of time, and I've had all these water props sitting in here with no water for like a good 20 minutes. So I don't want them to like, you know, start looking sad or anything. And that's part of the reason why I'm potting them up a week before, just in case if they do look a little sad in a few days, they'll perk back up by the time of the event, hopefully. Yeah, I just want to give some time in between before I'm trying to like sell them at the event, you know what I mean? I'm probably going to fast forward this part because it's really long. And I think I'm going to watch a movie on my TV over here. So if you see me throughout the thing like looking this way, it's because I'm looking at the TV. So I will catch you guys in a little bit. So I'm just going to get right into it. guys, so I just finished potting up all of the propagations and repotting some of the plants I decided to downsize on. That took about maybe 2 hours. It took much longer than I thought, but I'm glad that I decided to just do it and get it out of the way. So I have about 3 bins here that I worked on today, and then I have all the plants that are actually in the shop greenhouse as well. So probably once all the bins are like condensed, it might be like around 6 to 8 bins of plants, which I think is a pretty good amount. The event is from 10 to 3, so it is quite long, and it's good just to have stuff ready to go. Even if it doesn't fit on the table, I can put it underneath and restock throughout the day. I was going to label all the plants that I just did, but I am so tired. I'm just gonna do it this weekend because I'm gonna have to label the plants that are already in the shop anyway, so I might as well just do it all together. So what I'm gonna do now is just give all the plants some water. I'm just gonna take them to the kitchen. I have like that extension hose thingy on the faucet, and I'm just gonna keep them in their bins and just run the hose through all the plants. So as for tonight, I'm done. After I'm done watering the plants, I'm actually going to spend the rest of my night editing the YouTube video for Saturdays. So yeah, let me go ahead and do that, and I will see you guys probably tomorrow. So this happened early this morning. Some of the plants actually fell over while we were sleeping. I think it was like around like 6, 7 in the morning. They all just came tumbling down out of nowhere. And here's what the floor is looking like as well, a hot mess. So luckily it wasn't too bad this time, but and as I say that, there's just more and more damage just happening. I think the reason was this billy here. It's becoming really top heavy. You can see all the leaves are facing the front. This is what the back and the side is looking like. I'm gonna get a better support stick in this plant. This guy actually didn't get too damaged. This leaf was already like messed up, so it doesn't really matter. It wasn't too much damage, honestly, but it is still like really annoying when this happens. Like gloriosum also fell over, so it's all right. This leaf was already damaged, not too much damage. This guy though is literally crawling out of this pot, so I need to get that sorted out sooner than later. Really quick, I'm just going to sweep up the floor because all the potting mix is like all over the floor, so I'll be right back. So I just picked up the floor and put the potting mix back in the plants. That's why I really like having the vinyl floor in here instead of like carpet, because if there is like a water spill or a soil spill, it's just so much easier and faster to clean it up than dealing with the carpet. So in here I do always keep a little dustpan and broom just in case there are any spills that I need to get to really quickly. This plant is becoming really large and it's kind of getting hard to deal with because of how big it's getting. So what I want to do right now is actually try to get some of these plants organized, because obviously I have so much more plants now. Let me show you guys some of the plants that I potted up. So this is one of the bins here. So I've got this little crystallinum here. This one was just sitting in my collection for a long time. Definitely like a little rehab crystallinum, so it'll be like a cheaper price, probably like a clearance plant. This is a little white wizard, also like kind of like a rehab. I have a ton of these Aglaonema pictum tricolors. I feel like these are popular for a bit, but now not so much. These can be kind of finicky sometimes, and also they are slow growers. I'm just ready to let these plants go. So for all the plants that are like really small, I put them in these little tiny cups. I get these cups from Amazon and they're perfect for the small plants like this, probably about like 2.5 to 3 inches wide. So it works out perfect and you get like a lot of the cups for a cheap price. So I think that these work great. So I have these two here and I think I have one more as well. And I'm also going to be bringing a lot of the Monstera albo cuttings. The cuttings, I decided to put them in the moss and perlite mix like this. So it has been a few days and all of the cuttings are not looking sad or anything. So I know that they are getting enough moisture from the wet moss. So I have that one. We have this 2-leafer here. All the albos are medium variegation. And we have this one here. And then we have this one here. This one had a little bit more roots, so I put it in a different size cup that I have. None of these cups are used, by the way. They are just cups that I keep just for plants. Like I don't drink out of them or anything. Sometimes I do just buy cups from like Amazon and stuff like that just for plant purposes, and then I just reuse them for plants only. This one has a nice bit of white on the leaf as well. This is a philodendron white princess. This is a top cutting I took from a previous white princess we had on the shop, and I did put it in moss because it didn't have enough roots to actually be potted up in potting mix. And surprisingly, I actually do have a few baby ties. So I have this one here, and then I have this little guy here, and then I have one more, which is this one here. I've had these little ties for quite a while. They were all actually unrooted chunks. So they had no leaf and they had no roots either. And I just stuck the chunks in water and I just water propped them for a few months, and now they're actually like little baby plants. I've been trying to order a ton of the small ties again, but they go so fast that I never get a chance to get them. A lot of the bigger like brick and mortar stores, when they order from the wholesale, I think that they order like hundreds of them. So somebody like me that's a small shop, I don't get first pick compared to them. So yeah, that's why I haven't had them. This is a little Florida ghost cutting that I've had in my collection as well. Here is another Aglaonema pictum tricolor. This one is a little bit more juvenile, so it doesn't really have that variegation like the other ones do. This is a little jungle boogie cutting that I took from my mother plant. This is a cutting of a Hoya australis lisa from my personal collection. And then I also have some like little tiny like random plants as well. This is a philodendron pink princess. It's just a one leaf. It has another leaf coming in, so I think that that leaf might come through by the time of the event. All these like little tiny ones like this, they're gonna be just like a couple bucks, just in case anybody just wants to pick up something small. I think it's good to have small and large plants. And same thing with this Hoya here. This one is really tiny, but you know, a little $5 plant or whatever like that, or like even a freebie or something like that I can give out to people. And then I have some Pothos Mandula here as well. So that was the one bin of new plants, and here's another one. And I also do have some plants just scattered around in here that couldn't fit. So I decided to get rid of my philodendron white wizard. I feel like I can always get another one later, and this one has been growing a little bit now. I think this one is a nice specimen because it's growing quite tall now. I also am going to be getting rid of my anthurium dorayaki. There was a little pup in this one, so I took the little pup out and I'm going to keep the small one and grow that one out, but I'm going to just sell this one for now because I can always get another one later. I'm also going to sell these two little anthurium seedlings here. These are the anthurium queens. I recently up-potted these into their own little container because I knew that I was going to probably sell these, but I'm going to keep one and I'm going to sell these two little guys here. I decided to also chop up both of my Amygdurium medium blues. I had two of them and both of them were growing quite large, so I just decided to chop them up. So I have a ton of Amygdurium medium blue. This is one of the bottom cuts here. This one is a 3-leafer. I was able to do a lot of propagations from it, which I have rooting in water, and a lot of them I was actually able to just separate by root division. I have this one here as well, and I have this guy here, and also have this guy here. This is a bottom cut of my philodendron 69686. I took two cuts of this. I took a top cut and a mid cut. So this is the bottom cut here. I'm going to be selling this. And a lot of these plants, they need a stick in them. So I'm going to make sure I put sticks in them before I bring them to the event. This is a philodendron Paricio verde here. It's a 1-leafer, but it does have a new leaf coming in. It's really large and it's really heavy. So I definitely need to get a stick in here as well. And then we also have this one here. This is 2-leafer. It does have a growth point down here as well. So we have two Paricio verdes. This is my Burl Marks variegated that I am letting go as well, just because I don't feel like I need it. And this is also from my collection, Philodendron White Princess. Then I have these chaotic Monstera, just regular Monstera deliciosa cuttings. They look really crazy and wild right now, but I took these from my big Monstera in my living room, and I'm just gonna bring them. I don't know if they'll sell or not, but like they'll just be like $5 or something like that. And then I also took some new propagations that I'm rooting in water right now. This is not really new, but newer. This is actually another Monstera Thai constellation here. It has two little roots here, so it is finally growing. So this is what it looks like. Since these are like newer props, they are not going to come with me. I'm just going to prop these, and then once they root, then we'll just sell them on the website. And this is a little Syngonium albo propagation that I took recently. Here is all of those Amygdurium cuttings I was talking about. We literally have so many, so if you are looking for one, we'll definitely have some soon. This is a philodendron pink princess that I took off of a mother plant that I have in one of my cabinets. This is a little Syngonium aria propped from the mother plant I have in my cabinet. Here is all the 69686 cuttings as well. I've actually never propagated this plant, so hopefully it does well in water. Then I just have two little Epipremnum albo cuttings here. So these are the water props. And then I'm also going to be bringing 3 big plants as well, 3 big ties actually. This is one right here. It has this original leaf here, and it just put out this little baby here. It actually took me about 2 or 3 months to rehab it, but it's finally doing better. So it's potted up in the soil-free potting mix, and it's actually not hating its life anymore. Then I have this guy here. This was a water prop, so it is 2 leaves, and it does have a new leaf coming in here. It's probably going to be really good variegation. Since it was a cutting, it is going to be in the moss and perlite mix. So far, so good. No droopiness or anything like that. It looks like it's doing fine. I'm really hoping that by next week, all of the moss plants start growing like those fuzzy roots. So that means I'll know that they're actually growing. And then I have this 2-leafer here as well that is growing in the moss and perlite mix now as well. So yeah, I will have these 3 big plants with me at the event too. So that is all the new plants that we have. I am gonna just quickly get in here and get organized. I just prefer the plants being organized in a specific way. It just makes it look less messy, and it just helps me know where everything is. So I am just gonna clean up in here really quick. I just finished organizing all the plants and I finally feel like I have some peace of mind. Sometimes just organizing and cleaning up the plants just helps me relax more. I felt like it was very chaotic in here, but now I feel like everything is kind of organized and it makes it easier for me to just come in here and know exactly where everything is. The last thing I want to do today is actually pack some orders. We did have a few more this week, so I am going to get those packed up and shipped out. And I'm really shocked because I actually got an Etsy order. If you haven't been following me too long, I actually started e-commerce first on my Etsy store. I only had Etsy for about maybe 2.5 months, maybe 3 months. And then I decided that if I was going to do e-commerce, it's better for me in the long run to just make my own website. So I do still have my Etsy up and available. The only thing that I have on there is potting mix. And the reason for that is because obviously I want the traffic through my website, not through Etsy. Etsy takes like 6 to 7% of your sale. But the reason why I keep only one item on there is so that it can drive traffic to my shop. So on my Etsy, you can still shop, but you can only buy potting mix. But everywhere on it, it says that I've moved to my actual website and I get a lot of traffic still from Etsy. So yeah, I've actually haven't had an Etsy order for like over a year, which I'm so shocked somebody really did order from Etsy and not the shop. When I saw that notification come through, I had to like double take on it because I was like, what? No way. But that's the reason why I don't really use Etsy, because they take a huge fee and it's just not worth it. If you are trying to do e-commerce for the first time, Etsy is great because you do get your feet wet in it and you learn how to do e-commerce, and Etsy kind of handles pretty much everything. So you really just pack up your order and ship it. It did teach me a lot, but there is just no reason for me personally to be on Etsy. And like I said, the only reason I have it is to drive traffic to my shop, which it does because I can check the analytics of where people's coming from. And honestly, I have to try to remember how to even process that Etsy order because like I said, it's been over a year. So yeah, let's just go to the living room. I'm going to pack up these orders and get them shipped out.